John Oliver, Jen Psaki spark high-profile backlash for lecturing Democrats on trans sports messaging. Left-wing media darlings are coming to Democrats' rescue after the party's stinging electoral defeat, gifting them with a can't-miss message to take to voters. There's nothing wrong with born male athletes competing in girls' sports. It's barely happening anyway, and you're a total creep if you even question it. That's the gist of John Oliver and Jen Psaki's tone-deaf memos to Democrats over the weekend, which sparked swift outrage on social media, particularly raising the ire of author JK Rowling, who has been outspoken on the issue of biological males' encroachment into female spaces. It started with Oliver's tirade tearing into Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign for failing to come up with a compelling argument in favor of trans participation in youth sports, which he said should be a cinch. To prove it, he speedily dictated what he thought Dems should say on the issue. There are vanishingly few trans girls competing in high schools anywhere. Even if there were more, trans kids, like all kids, vary in athletic ability, and there is no evidence they pose any threat to safety or fairness. It's very weird for you to be so focused on the subject, he spat out on camera. In a lengthy missive on X, the Harry Potter creator responded, slamming Oliver for motivated reasoning and confirmation bias, firing off an impassioned takedown of his preachy polemic. Again and again I've come up against men who argue exactly what Oliver does here, using the very same talking points. With a straight face, the believe the science guys will say, actually, we don't have enough data to say whether men and boys are stronger and faster than women and girls. The Be Kind crew can't see what the issue is, she tweeted. On her MSNBC show, Psaki echoed Oliver's insistence that the culture war controversy is a non-issue that Democrats should ignore. The former White House press secretary patted Democrats on the head for soul-searching after massive Election Day losses, but in the same breath accused Representative Seth Moulton, Democrat Massachusetts, of getting pulled into the argument over trans sports after the poll declared it a losing issue for the party. Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face, Moulton told the New York Times last week. I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. Psaki disagreed, chastising the dissident Dem congressman. Reflection is good, but if this were actually an issue at thousands of schools across the country, it would be worthy of a debate, she said. There are incredibly few examples of transgender girls playing in youth sports, and when we do see these examples, there is no evidence that these kids are a threat to safety or fairness. In closing, the MSNBC host pointed the finger at President-elect Donald Trump and Republicans, accusing them of fomenting fake panic over the issue. Trump and the Republicans have managed to amplify their bad faith attacks to the point where people do have concerns, as misguided and misinformed though those concerns may be, Psaki said, warning Democrats not to fall for right-wing propaganda without checking the facts. One such fact is that nearly 900 biological females were robbed of medals in sports competing against transgender athletes, according to a United Nations study titled Violence Against Women and Girls in Sports. A June survey from the University of Chicago also found that 65% of Americans said transgender athletes should never or rarely be allowed to compete in sports leagues that correspond to their gender identity instead of their biological sex. And it turns out not all TV show hosts on the left are of one mind on the trans sports issue. Bill Maher, titular host of HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher, has been a fierce critic of woke Democrats, who he says are destroying the party's chances for victory. Stop screaming at people to get with the program, and instead make a program worth getting with, an exasperated Maher said on his show. What good is liberalism if you don't win elections?